Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along with Justin and Alfredo. The Broncos yesterday made a big move. They added Jalen Waddle. They gave up a lot for him too. They gave up a first-round pick. They gave up a third. But he comes to a team that's really good. They gave up a third and a fourth, but he comes to a team that's really good, a loaded team, good offensive line. Now he joins Cortland Sutton, J.K. Dobbins. You got Bo Nix there, so he joins a loaded Denver team. And the question really is with this move, yeah, it's a lot, but I think this puts the Broncos in a really good position to succeed in 2026.
Yeah, it definitely does. They could have used another wide receiver and they get it in Jalen Waddle, then get the couple picks that you're gonna give up. And for Miami, they need all the picks they get at this point with the talent they have. But yeah, so I really like this move for Denver to bring in Waddle here because they haven't had a big time wide receiver in a couple years, and with Bo Nix hopefully taking that next step up this year, coming off the broken ankle, would be huge for this Broncos team that is right there in being one of the best teams, in the AFC. So did like the move by Denver yesterday.
You brought out how they're right there being one of the best teams in the AFC, and the first question should they be the favorite? Seeing that the Chiefs went out and got Kenneth Walker, Chargers went out, got Mike McDaniels, their offensive coordinator. Should they be the favorite to repeat in the NFC West? The AFC West? And I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes because they got the best roster. Yes, the quarterback is still questionable, especially throughout the first three quarters of the game. But to me, they got the best roster in that division. So I'm going to say yes. I say the Broncos should be the favorite to repeat in the AFC West.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they're the best team right now in the AFC West still. I know the Chiefs got a little bit better the last couple weeks here, but I still think Denver's got a better team. Maybe outside of the quarterback, they're better in a lot of different spots Denver is right now. So I do like this Broncos team still to repeat as AFC West champions as well.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I do agree with them repeating as AFC West champs. Now, we saw last year the Broncos lost to your Patriots in the AFC Championship game. They were 3 points away from getting to the Super Bowl. The big question is are they the favorite in the AFC? Looking at, the Chiefs are going to be – we already established they'll be better than the Chiefs, but you look at the Bills, new coaching staff, Ravens, new coaching staff. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes because I think they have the best – they have the roster, pretty good quarterback, and one of the top 5 coaches in the league. I think they have the best roster in the NFL. I think they do going into next season. I think they do. Best roster. I think they got, a top coach. And they got a decent quarterback, so I'm going to say they should be the favorite to go. They'd be my pick to go because you look at the Chiefs. Yeah, they're good offensively. They got Kenneth Walker, but that secondary is very questionable. That defense is questionable. Losing Leo Chenal, losing Trent McDuffie, so it's very questionable there. You look at the Bills and Ravens, first-year head coaches, the Patriots. We all know how hard it is to get back to the Super Bowl after you lose it. Only one team has done it in 30 years. That was the 2018 New England Patriots. So. I think they are. I think the Broncos are the favorite to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC.
Yeah, I'm with you there. With all the points you made, yeah, I just don't love the Bills or Ravens with the new coaching staffs. I don't like picking first-year coaching staffs when the head coach has no experience. I just don't. Yeah, Kansas City with Mahomes, they might be back next year, very possibly. And yeah, their defense still could be problematic next year. So, obviously the Bengals and Joe Burrow, you really can't. I'm with you with the Patriots. They really haven't done much to move the needle for me this offseason. And yeah, it's so tough to go back. Last year's Denver team was a 1 seed. So I do like this Denver team yet again to host the AC Championship game, and this year maybe get over the hump and get there because I'm with you. The talent that they have, the rosters they have, they should be the favorite right now to win the AFC.
They should be. And if you add a guy like Waddle, and you look at Miami, you look at Miami's piece of this, they're in a total rebuild. I mean, Waddle gone, Tyreek Hill gone, Jaden Phillips. Only went to the Eagles. They traded him away. But Bradley Chubb, he's gone now. So a lot of guys gone in Miami. Minka Fitzpatrick, he's gone. So this is clear. Miami is in a rebuild. They're pretty much they're in a clear rebuild. I mean, good luck to Malik Willis to try to win with that receiving core. Good luck to him. So they're in a clear rebuild. And then, but for the Broncos, I really like the move. I know they had to give up a first-round pick, but I like the move because it puts them in position to get to LA. Puts them in position to get to SoFi Stadium in February because they were this close last year to get to the Super Bowl. I think this puts them in a position to get to SoFi Stadium in February.
Yeah, no, it definitely does now. Puts them right there with maybe that Rams team, and looks like these two right now are definitely the favorite to get there, and they're two respective conferences. So yeah, we'll see. It definitely moved the needle yesterday for Denver. They needed another piece. The wide receiver position. So yeah, it was a great move for Denver. And is Bo Nix? Do they know Bo Nix be back for Week 1?
I think he will be. I
Yeah,
think he will be. I think he will be.
so that
I'm
helps
confident
too.
that he will. Yeah, I'm confident that he will.
So yeah, so that'll be huge because Stidham isn't great. So even if you had to burn it for a couple weeks, but yeah, if they get Bo Nix healthy, ready to go, yeah, I do love to see him.
They do. You got it. I think you got it. That's a team you got to like going into the season. Really good pass rush, top defense, good run game. Now you're gonna have Dobbins back too. Remember they didn't have J.K. Dobbins either. So really, outside of losing Dre Greenlaw, this team's in really good shape going into the offseason. This team is in they're in really good shape. So I really like the move for the Broncos going out and trading Waddle. I really like that move. So I do. But now we'll move on to another team in the AFC West, and that is the Chiefs. And on Monday they traded for Justin Fields, a 7th round pick, to the Jets for Justin Fields. And I like this move too because say Mahomes isn't ready for the first couple games of the season. Fields, yes, he was one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league last year, but he is a capable backup. Fields is a capable backup. You could do some zone read option. You could do some zone read option. You could do stuff like that with him. You got Kenneth Walker, so I think the Chiefs' running game between the two of them. If Mahomes has to sit, it'll be really good. You need a guy to be the guy. You need a guy to be able to take most of the reps in training camp, and he's going to be that guy. I do like this move for the Chiefs.
Yeah, for the Chiefs, I think it's a good insurance policy to have. With Field, because we saw a couple years ago when he was in Pittsburgh, he wasn't great or anything, but he was a serviceable quarterback at best, and I think that's kind of what he'd need to be in Kansas City here if Mahomes isn't ready. Week 1 ready to go. So yeah, I like it. Just kind of as an insurance policy here and coming in as a backup too. So I think the Chiefs could get the best out of him. I know last year with the Jets it was ugly, but it's obviously the Jets, and then we know the Bears and situation up there, Chicago, and obviously kind of struggled there. So yeah, I think it's a good move for Kansas City here. Good insurance policy.
Yeah, I think it is. I like this. I like this move for the Chiefs, and I think it's going to help him. I think he'll be a very capable backup for them. He might have to end up starting a couple games because of Mahomes' recovery. But say Mahomes has to miss the first 3 games, Fields could get you to 2-1. Fields could get you to 2-1, or he'll help you not lose your season in September. He'll help you tread water in September. So when Mahomes gets back, the Chiefs are ready to get back into Super Bowl contention.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll do a good job. Andy Reid will put him in a spot where he won't lose a football game. He'll manage it. He'll make enough plays for you to get enough to get a win. So, yeah, with that defense, hopefully they don't have to play a ton of high scoring teams early on here where they have to try to win shootouts with Justin Fields, the quarterback. But in most games, if he's got to go out there, I expect Andy Reid to put him in position to just help him with football games and hopefully not to go out there and lose it.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a good move. Really good move for the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. But we got to move on to a quarterback that was signed on Friday. That's Kyler Murray. He was signed by the Vikings for the vet minimum, 1 year, $1.3 million. And I think it's pretty obvious he's going to be the starter. Vikings, to me, I think they moved off of J.J. McCarthy. I think he's going to be the starter. And I think he's going to help them. I think he's going to be pretty good there. I think he's going to be good there. And seeing what's happened, we'll get to our losers of the NFL offseason. Seeing what's happened to some of these teams in the NFC North, I wouldn't be surprised not only if he leads the Vikings to the playoffs, but if he leads them to the division title. I would not be surprised. Looking at with Brian Flores, they're going to have a good defense. Their defense is going to be good. And they're going to be good defensively. So, and then they have some pretty good weapons on offense with Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. I would not be surprised if Kyler Murray leads the Vikings to an NFC North title.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I really like the move for Kyle Murray for Kevin O'Connell, who's done a really good job of rebuilding quarterbacks. And I think for Murray and for O'Connell, I think this is a great kind of situation for both of them here. Yeah, it seems like they're done with JJ McCarthy. Seems like that experiment's over here. And quarterback play really killed this Vikings team a year ago. So I really love the move for Minnesota. Um, I think a dark horse win MVP. Like
Wow, wow.
yeah, we saw what Darnold could do there. We saw what Cousins could do there. He's got the weapon. So if this team were to win like a division title, I wouldn't be shocked if we're sitting there in week 18 and Kyle Murray's maybe playing for an MVP title. I wouldn't. I think it's more of a dark horse pick, but I really like this move for Minnesota, and I think this is going to help rebuild Murray's career, and I think this has helped Kevin O'Connell kind of with a new GM keep his job up there in Minnesota as well.
Yeah, it could. And the question is, are the Vikings a playoff team with Murray? And I'm going to say yes. I think they get a wild card. I think they are a playoff team with Kyler Murray if he stays healthy. Now, it's a big if he's missed 22 games in the last 4 years, 27 games in the last 4 years. That's a big if. But if he stays healthy, I do think they're a playoff team.
I'm with you. I think they're a playoff team too. They got tons of talent. You mentioned Brian Flores, the defense. That's going to be one of the best defenses in the league, and they're going to have a great blitz rate, and they're going to get home a lot. So, and that offense is only get better now with Kyle Murray under center. So, yeah, I'm with you as well. I like this Vikings team. Yeah, the question didn't be can he stay on the field enough, and hopefully he can. But there's 3 really good defenses in that division that he's going to have to face twice a year. So we'll see. But it helps too that you're playing a third, no, a 4th place schedule. So that will help that team
third,
as well.
third. The Lions
Third.
They'll be a third place
Yeah.
schedule. But still, it's really
Okay.
it's really gonna it's really gonna help that team. It really is, especially having competent quarterback play. Because you saw what that team was, 2 years ago when they had competent quarterback play. They went 14-3, and they didn't win the division, but they got into the playoffs. You saw last year when the quarterback play slipped, they missed the playoffs. So when you have competent quarterback play with Kevin O'Connell, you usually make the playoffs. Now, what happens in the playoffs, that's another story. But when you get competent quarterback play with Kevin O'Connell, you usually make the playoffs.
Yeah, you usually do. And, and hopefully Murray, if they do get there, which I think they should, we'll see. Yeah, I know the quarterback plays hurt him here in the postseason, but maybe Murray will have a little bit better track record, you hope. And so, yeah, maybe this will be the one that kind of gets him a playoff win or two. So, yeah, we'll see. But, yeah, like the track record here for Kevin O'Connell, just rebuilding quarterbacks and being able to kind of flip them and getting them big contracts afterwards.
Exactly. We'll see what happens here with Kyler Murray. But now we move on to our 5 winners and losers of the NFL offseason. I mean, we've had free agency. Just now that free agency looks like it's mostly over, we will go to our 5 winners and losers of the offseason. I'm going to start with my winners, and I'll start with number 5. I'm going to go with the Broncos. I'm going with the Broncos. They re-signed Dobbins. They went out and got Waddle. They've put themselves in position. The Broncos have put themselves in position to be the favorite to go. Like we said earlier, to me, they put themselves in position this offseason with some of the moves they made, re-signing Dobbins and trading for Jalen Waddle. They've put themselves in position to be the favorite in the AFC, in my opinion. So number 5, I'm going to go with the Broncos. Number 4, I'm going to go with the Steelers. I like some of the moves. I like going out and trading for Pittman. I like going out and getting Dabo. I like the fact they went out and got Dean. Now, do they need to draft a quarterback? Yes, because Aaron Rodgers is not the future. But for 1 year, for Aaron Rodgers, this is a better team they had last year, and he got to the playoffs last year. So I do like what the Steelers did this offseason. Number 3, the Panthers. Getting Jalen Phillips, and getting Devin Lloyd. I like those 2 signings. I think that improves their front 7. Now, to me, for my opinion, they should give Bryce Young the 5th-year option and not give him a long-term deal. Wait, if he doesn't make the playoffs, if they don't make the playoffs, they'll win this division with the 2 signings they made. Bryce Young has got to be out the door. I really like what they've done, though. They put in Bryce Young in a position to succeed. I think they're especially, and they got Walker too, the tackle out of Green Bay. So they put in their quarterback in position to succeed. He's got a pretty good defense, and and their offense has improved since he's been there. So to me, you don't give Bryce Young a long-term deal this year. You give him the 5th-year option. You don't do that. You wait to see what he does this year with the best roster he's had since he's been a Carolina Panther. Number 2 for me, I'm going with the Vikings. Steve, we just talked about going out and getting Kyler Murray, going out and getting a competent quarterback that can definitely make you compete in the North. Seeing what some of the offseason that the other teams have had in that division, and he gets with that defense, you're going to be able to compete with Justin Jefferson, with Jordan Addison. You'll be able to compete. So I really like the Vikings getting Kyler Murray, and then number 1, the Rams going out and making that trade to get Trent McDuffie. They have proven to be the clear favorite to win the Super Bowl, to play in their home, to play in the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl in their home stadium. So it should be really good to see. It should be really interesting to see what happens with the Rams. They've made themselves the clear favorite to go to win the Super Bowl this year by going out and trading for Trent McDuffie, and then their division rival, went out and did not re-sign Kenneth Walker. So for me, the Rams are the favorite because of making that move. Justin, your 5 winners of the NFL offseason.
Yeah, mine, number 5 went to Vikings as well, bringing Kyle Murray, just helping that quarterback room out here, and just kind of put him back in position to be a playoff team. Number 4, I went with the Washington Commanders. I thought extending Tunsil to help protect Jaden Daniels, who was a solid move. They're bringing back Mariota, has experience in that system, which helps. The pass rushers that they got, like bringing in Chase on, is going to help because and linebacker Leon Channel, just because they weren't great at blitzing team last year. They weren't good at stopping the run, and a couple assets there to help kind of the second level. So I thought Washington got better as well. Number 3, I thought Tennessee did a pretty good job of just, I thought they spent good money, getting John Franklin Myers. I thought they did a little bit too much on spent on Wendell Robinson, but I thought Tennessee did too. Just a good job of just kind of improving your roster around Cam Ward and bringing in the coaching staff too. We'll see if Robert Saleh how he does second time around here as a head coach. But I thought Tennessee got better, so for me they were number 3. Number 2, I did the Kansas City Chiefs here. Bringing in Kenneth Walker, the rushing offense hasn't been there the last couple of years. Now, that should help. I think bringing back Eric Bieniemy too as the OC. I know Reed calls his own plays, but to bring him back, I think it's a good subtle move. They still got Reed, so I love Kansas City as well. Just putting themselves back right there in the AFC kind of conversation. And number 1 for me, as your number 1 too, was the LA Rams. It's Super Bowl or bust at this point for him. Bringing Trent McDuffie to help the secondary out. Even Jalen Watson to help their defense too. Another piece, and I'm not worried about giving up the first round pick because they do it every single year. So sounds like too they're another team to watch for AJ Brown. It sounds like, so they might not be done yet, but I really liked what the Rams did as well, just kind of putting themselves right there in position to go get one more Super Bowl, one more kind of run here with Matthew Stafford as the quarterback.
I mean, yeah, those are all those. I mean, a couple of them. Commanders are interesting. I think the Commanders did some under the radar stuff, getting a Chenault, getting a Nick Cross, getting a Dafe Owe, really addressing not with superstars, but addressing their needs. So don't be surprised if the Commanders find a way to get back to the playoffs. I think they've had a really good offseason just addressing their need. No superstars, but they have addressed their needs. So I think the Commanders did a really good job there. And you said the Titans. To me, too many Jets and Giants for them. Too many Jets and Giants. Franklin Myers is decent, but he struggles against the run. He was clearly the 4th best defensive lineman. That's why he was a free agent. Wandell Robinson had his best season last year, but he's also a 5'8" receiver that's under 200 pounds. So they pay $20 million. You said it. They paid too much money for him. You admitted that. But to me, just too many ex-Jets and Giants for them. Way too many ex-Jets and Giants. I feel like the GM is listening to the coaches, listening to Saleh and Daboll. Too many ex-Giants and Jets. And then the Chiefs, I can't consider them a winner. I know they got Kenneth Walker, but also they lost their best corner in Trent McDuffie. So I can't consider the Chiefs. I know they got Justin Fields too, but I can't consider the Chiefs a winner, seeing that they gave up one of the best corners in the game in Trent McDuffie. And I obviously agree with the Rams completely, just because the move they made to get McDuffie and to put themselves in the position to be the best team in the NFL going into the 2026 season. So now we will go to our losers. And number 5 for me, I'm going with the Cardinals. They really they didn't end up getting Malik Willis. it's gonna be hard. It looks like they're gonna have a season where they're gonna be starting Jacoby Brissett. They look like they're gonna be the most irrelevant team in the league. They really didn't make a lot of huge signings. They really look like the most irrelevant team in the league. They going into the 2026 season. So for me, number 5 is the Cardinals. Number 4 for me is the Bears. The Bears, yeah, they made some moves defensively, getting Devin Bush and getting Kobe Bryant, but not the big moves you think you're expecting. You know, they missed out on Trey Hendrickson, a guy who played with Dennis Allen in New Orleans. They missed out on Trey Hendrickson. They didn't get into the Max Crosby sweepstakes. So to me, the Bears are number 4. And they lost DJ Moore. Yes, Romo Dunze is better than DJ Moore, but still you lost a piece at the wide receiver position. So, and they won a lot of close games last year. This could be the team that misses the playoffs next year. So I'm going to put the Bears as number 4. Number 3, I'm going to go with the Packers. They traded Rashawn Gary. They lost Romeo Dobbs. They really didn't get better anywhere, the Packers. And you got Micah Parsons going off an ACL. A lot of money is tied in those two players, Parsons and Love, and the Packers' successes. And the Packers are very reliant on those two players, Parsons and Love, because they got to get another edge rusher. They got to get another receiver in the draft. So, and they don't have a first-round pick either. So the Packers, to me, they're one of my 3 losers of the NFL offseason. Number 2, the Lions lost David Montgomery, lost Taylor Decker, asked out. He still hasn't gotten signed yet. You got Anzalone went to Tampa. To me, the Lions roster keeps getting worse and worse. And Jared Goff, as we've seen throughout his career, he's won games when he's had top rosters around him. He can't carry average to below average roster. This Lions roster just continues to get worse. It continues to get worse for a team that missed the playoffs last year. So they're number 2. And then number 1's pretty obvious. It's the Jaguars. You lose 2 top players on your roster and really don't replace them. You lose Devin Lloyd, you lose Travis Etienne, and you don't replace them. And you have a quarterback that's been very inconsistent throughout his career. He's had a lot of ups and downs, Trevor Lawrence, throughout his career. Yes, he was very good at the end of last year, but he's had a lot of ups and downs at the end of his career. So to me, and you see a team like the Texans, it was close to being one of my winners, seeing the way they improved on the O-line and gotten David Montgomery. So to me, my 5 losers: Cardinals, Bears, Packers, Lions, and Jags. Justin, who are your losers of the NFL offseason?
Mine, number 5 is the Cincinnati Bengals. You lose your best pass rusher. You lose one of your best players, and you go to your division rivals.
That's a good
And
one.
now your quarterback, who has struggled to stay on the field the last couple of years, now has got to go up against Henderson twice a year. How much longer can you keep wasting Joe Burrow's career here? Seems like it's not going to stop anytime soon. Number 4, the Bears as well. Yeah, losing DK Moore in the offseason hurt. Thought they were going to be in the Max Crosby sweepstakes. I was with you. They were so lucky last year too to win some games, and I think you're going to see some regression from them this year. So, for me too, I haven't loved the Bears offseason. Number 3 for me was the Arizona Cardinals. They just spent like a team was just kind of just looked busy. Like, I don't think they really did anything to move the needle much. And, Tyler Algier's okay. Roy Lopez is all right. Like Gardner Minshew, I like as more of a backup, but like doesn't fix the mess that they have at quarterback right now. Number 2 for me was Seattle. I just, they're just a couple pieces off the championship roster. Kenneth Walker's gone. Kobe Bryant's gone. Boyd Maffei's out, and that just, like there's a couple of the small pieces that they lost that I think hurt. I know they got Rashad Shaheed back, but doesn't help kind of the edge pressure in the defense. It's kind of, losing a couple of key guys there, and the division got better around you with San Francisco and the Rams. So the 2 teams that you're competing with in that division, got better around you. And number 1 for me was, as well as Jacksonville, you mentioned it, lost 2 of the best players off that roster from a year ago. They made the playoffs. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence had a really good year, but like, can he kind of recapture what he did last year? And it's a team too in the South. We're outside of like Houston. Second place is up for grabs, and it doesn't feel like Jacksonville did much to help themselves get back in the position to go to back-to-back playoff appearances.
Yeah, they won the. If people forget, they won the division last year. They had a home game and lost to the Bills. They really didn't do. To me, they didn't do enough. I would never put the Seahawks as losers. I know they lost Kenneth Walker, but they got Charbonnet coming back. John Snyder is the second best GM in the NFL. We thought even last year they might have been one of the losers when they lost DK Metcalf, but they ended up winning the Super Bowl because of the emergence of Jackson Smith and Jigba. The defense continued to get better. They continue to draft well on the defensive side of the ball. And Sam Darnold was what few people thought he was in Minnesota. He was a good quarterback, and he was a good quarterback last year. So I could never call the Seahawks a loser, but a lot of these other ones I'm with you with. Jacksonville, I'm definitely with you with the Bears, the Cardinals, and even the Bengals. Yeah, losing their best pass rusher inside the division. Really, they really a lot of those, that team is tied up to 3 players. They have 3 contracts they're tied into: T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow. So Bengals they're lucky though. Max Crosby isn't coming to the division, but they lose Trey Hendrickson inside the division. So for those 5, I definitely agree with you there. So we will move though to the Giants, who I thought had a pretty good free agency. I really, really did. I like the Isaiah Likely move. I like him. They're going to play a lot of 12 personnel. I feel like next year you got him and Theo Johnson. They'll be playing a lot of hardball. There's 2 things that this free agency really proves for the Giants. Number 1, Joe Shane is not making any of these decisions. This is John Harbaugh's team. He's making all these football decisions. Look at some of the guys they got: Isaiah Likely, former Raven; Jordan Stout, former Raven; Patrick Ricard, former Raven; and Adarius Washington, former Raven. So you got 4 former Ravens he got in free agency. Number 2, this team is going to be able to run. They're going to be a run-first team, seeing the personnel they got. Getting a fullback in Patrick Ricard. Probably going to be playing a lot of 12 personnel with Isaiah Likely and Theo Johnson on offense. So this is definitely going to be a run-first team on offense. And I know they got Darnell Mooney, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went out and drafted a Sonny Styles or a Caleb Downs over Carnell Tate, because this is a run-first team. This is going to be a run-first football team, be a physical Northeast football team. We'll see if that works. We'll see if that works when they have to go out so they have to somehow go play the Rams in a playoff game. We'll see if that works. But that's the kind of team Harbaugh is building. He wants to build an identity, and it's going to be run the football. So that's definitely going to be the identity on offense. I really feel like that's going to be the identity on offense. And special teams going out and signing Jason, saying, the Gillen's gone, and the Scottish Hammer's gone. And the Giant special teams will be new. Jason Sanders and Jordan Stout, who was a first-team All-Pro. So special teams and running the football are definitely, I feel like, going to be an identity of this Giants team. And they definitely do need some help, though, in the back 7 of this defense in the draft. They definitely need some help there. I know they got Tremaine Edmonds, but, they could have – Devin Lloyd was out there. You had some younger players in Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean, but they chose to go with Trey Edmonds, who is good against the run. The weird thing was I checked his Pro Football Focus numbers. He's good against the run, struggled against the pass, but – he did have 4 interceptions, but looking at his highlight video, a lot of those, those pass plays were him getting interceptions. So overall, I did like the Giants free agency. I really did. Now, there were some moves that are weird. Them re-signing Evan Neal, bringing back Josh Azudu. There's some weird moves there. Those are some weird moves. But overall, I thought it was a good free agency for the Giants.
Yeah, you gotta be happy with the Giants, and you mentioned it, changing the culture, and having Harbaugh in the room, and you kind of tell that, there's a culture, there's an identity with this football team, which you really haven't had the last couple of years, and that's a huge first step here, and you got to be happy that Shane does not seem like he's in power right now. That's got to be the great thing,
Exactly, without question, that's the great thing.
Yeah. So that's good. So I love for the Giants. Yeah, they made a lot of good moves. I think bringing in some Raven guys are good because that have played in the winning culture of Baltimore for in their time with Harbaugh. And I think you want to bring that to New York now, and the locker room that's struggled to win the last couple of years here. So I think it's huge, and I think I love for the Giants. It's definitely made my honorable mentions list for winners of. They don't feel off season. So I love for your Giants, just to kind of put it simply. I thought they had a really good off season. I think they definitely got better, and I think it helps when you bring a guy like Harbaugh into that room.
Yeah, you brought up honorable mention. Did they make the splash move in free agency? No. Do they get needle movers in free agency? No, but they got a bunch of guys that are going to help them win games and build and help them build their identity of running the football. I think the run game is going to be, as I said earlier, it's going to be so huge for this team. This is going to be a physical football team. John Harbaugh wants a physical team, and I think he's going to get that. He's going to get a physical team, and also this will be a team that will play really, really, really good special teams. the special teams from what you saw with Dayball and what you're going to see from Harbaugh are going to be night and day. Probably not even more night and day. They're going to go from, you saw the Monday night game with the Patriots, a kicker whiffing on the ball to maybe arguably, and I feel like having the best special teams in the league.
Yeah, totally. Because they can know stuff for the last couple of years where there's been some games where you're without a kicker, which is
that's
just,
inexcusable. Inexcusable.
Yeah,
it's the reason why Brian Daboll's not a head coach anymore.
Yeah, no, it is, and so like some of those stuffs are going to go bye. Like like the no kicker stuff. And Harbaugh, we know is a really good coach for the most part, and he'll blow some of his leads, but I don't think but other than that, Harbaugh's a really good coach. Yeah, the special team to be better. They're gonna have an identity. There's just things with Harbaugh. That things are gonna be a lot different, and it's gonna be best coach that they've had since Tom Coughlin now, and that's been over a decade. So it's been too long since the Giants have had somebody in that room that you could respect, and some of the guys bringing in are going to help it. Yeah, they didn't make the splash move this offseason, but I think you got to start winning first before that move happens. I know even with a guy like Harbaugh, you got to kind of start to win first and change the culture, but they're doing that.
Yeah, they are. They definitely are. They're definitely doing that. They're changing the culture. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a very, very exciting season of Giants football. I feel like with the moves they made, they're going to be in it. They're going to be in the hunt. They're going to be in the hunt. I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team, but I think they're going to win. There's a good chance they win more games than they lose, and they're going to be in it at Christmas time. They're going to be in that hunt. They're going to be on the graphic. They're going to be in the hunt. That's what you want, seeing what Giants football has been like for over a decade.
Yeah, absolutely. You made the one playoff appearance a couple years ago and nothing didn't capitalize off or anything after that. It went back to same old Giants the last couple years. So absolutely. That's what you want. You want to be playing meaningful football in December, and your schedule can't be any worse than it was last year. Because man, that was one of the toughest schedules of all football, and it's pretty unfair for the expectations that the going into the season. So definitely, that's definitely gonna help too. That schedule won't be as brutal.
It definitely will. It definitely will. It definitely will. Now, moving on to your Patriots, the defending AFC Championship champions in their free agency. I thought it was if you would like to give a grade to it, I'd say like a B-, because it seemed like they lost the guy and then just replaced the guy. Like, for example, they lose K'Von Chaisson and they replace him with an average pass rusher in Raymond Jones. They lose. Now, I think this is a downgrade. They lose the Stephon Diggs they release, and they get Romeo Doubs. Now, I think they're still in the market for a receiver. I wouldn't be surprised if A.J. Brown is on this team come June. I would not be surprised at all. But the price is now high. Seeing the Jalen Waddle price, seeing that we went for a 1 to 3, there's a very good chance the Patriots are going to have to give up that 30. Now, the good part was the Eagles are going to hang on to him, but there's probably a good chance they might have to give up that 2027 first-round pick to get A.J. Brown. So that's probably what's going to happen there. Now, Vera Tucker, I think, is definitely an upgrade over Jared Wilson at the guard position, and an upgrade over James Bradbury as an overall offensive line, over Garrett Bradbury as an overall offensive lineman, even because they traded Bradbury to the Bears. So I do like them getting Vera Tucker. I do like that signing. And then Byard, I feel like, Hawkins, Jalen Hawkins went to the Ravens. You got Kevin Byard, who was with Vrabel. I like that signing too. So they did lose guys from that lineup. Lost, Jalen Hawkins, lost Stephon Diggs, lost K'Von Chaisson. They lost guys, but it looked like when they lost the guy, they replaced the guy. So it's not like last year where they were just bringing a bunch of guys into the team, which really helped them because 10 of those guys they brought in were starters, so that really helped them last year. It seemed like they lost a guy and then just replaced a guy this year, which makes sense because they went crazy in free agency last year.
Yeah, I didn't think they were going to be as busy as last free agency period. You couldn't expect it to. Even though they still had some money, you're hoping maybe they'd bring in like a Max Crosby or like an AJ Brown. Well, I don't really want an AJ Brown, but that option I guess is on the table. I don't love the Romeo Doubs deal, to be honest with you. Like, I thought they gave him way too much money for a guy that's had 2 career 100-yard reception games. Now, I think they both have come in the playoffs, but still, and he's been a guy that's been injured a lot. So, how reliable will he be next year? I don't know. So I'm with you. I still believe they're in the market. Same thing with Elijah Tucker, Vera Tucker. Yeah, he's a nice player when he's on the field, but he's hurt a lot. Can you count him to be on there 17 weeks a year and expect him to be there in January when you're playing playoff football? You hope. Byron, good move to bring in the safety spot. Draymond Jones too. Yeah, like I'm with you. Like they just kind of brought in guys to replace guys that they're losing. So I think they need a little bit more talent, but yeah, they weren't that busy. Again, still think they could win the division. Will they? Schedule's a lot tougher next year. And like Dobbs can right now because Dobbs has to prove he's a number one. I don't think he is, but
and Diggs was still pretty good for you. I know he wasn't good in the playoff. Yeah. He had some big games for you last year in Buffalo. The Sunday night game in Baltimore. It's a big game for the Patriots last year.
Yeah, he did. And Dobbs, again, as I just mentioned, has had 2 career 100-yard reception games. Can he be that number one? I don't know. Mike Brown coming in for Tennessee, the guy that's got some Vrabel ties. So yeah, I thought, pretty quiet. I'm with you. Like a B-, like wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. So they just kind of did a couple really quiet under the radar type things, which I don't mind. But yeah, like again, I don't think they're up there in the top half of the AFC still with Vrabel and Drake May taking that 30-year step. But yeah, like I'm not going to call them a favorite. I don't think they're going to get back there next year because, as you mentioned, it's just hard to do it back-to-back years. So yeah, I thought it was a B-, right around there as a grade. So, brought in talent, but also lost a couple guys.
Yeah, listen, they're trying to do what, to me, in my opinion, is the hardest thing to do in sports. Get back to the Super Bowl after you lost the Super Bowl, which has only happened to one team since 1993. One team, and that was the 2018 Patriots who won their. That's with Brady and Belichick who won their 6th Super Bowl. So I don't know what doesn't even count because that's the greatest. That's the greatest team ever. So they're trying to do something that is the hardest thing to do in sports. Get back to a Super Bowl after you lost the Super Bowl. Mahomes and the Chiefs haven't done that. Their 2 worst years, and really this Mahomes Andy Reid era have been the 2 years after they lost the Super Bowl. So yeah, they're doing something that's brutal. It's just one of the most brutal things to do, and they're trying to do that this year. And to me, again, it was a lot of under the radar moves, and in terms of them being the favorite in the AFC, I think it's very close between them and the Bills. Now, if the Bills did have Sean McDermott, I'd probably take them. I just think the coaching edge is on New England's side. It's very close to me, very close. I might still give them the edge just because of the coaching. I just don't trust Joe Brady. I don't know what I'm getting from Joe Brady. I know what I'm getting. I know there's a good chance the Patriots will return to the playoffs next year because I know I'm getting a really good coach in Mike Vrabel. I know I got a really good quarterback in Drake May, and a quarterback that was 1 vote away from winning the MVP. And it's a solid roster that Elliott Wolf has put. Not the best roster in the league, but it's still a solid roster that Elliott Wolf has put together. So, and you got 2 teams in the division that are pretty much in rebuilds, the Jets and the Dolphins. So I still think the Patriots are a playoff team. But again, they're doing what is the hardest thing, in my opinion, to do in sports is get back to the Super Bowl after you lose it.
That is. And that's why, like, I'm even trying to go next season tempering my expectations because, look, last year, they played above over the skis and all that. And this is probably not a team. Yeah, they got a couple games. You're gonna need that, but I know the team's probably not gonna get back there next year because it's just so hard to do. So, hey, and the schedule too next year is gonna be a lot harder than it was this year. So, yeah, I'm trying to kind of temper my expectations of this group. And Drake May is only year 3. It's not like that window's closing for him anytime soon. And it's still only year 2 under the Vrabel Elliott. I guess Elliott Wolf's been here, longer able here, but yeah. So we'll see, but yeah, I think it's still a solid team, still a solid roster. Yeah, they still need some. You still need that number 1 wide receiver. You're still trying to build that off with the lineup. You're hoping Will Campbell takes. You're hoping too, like the Will Campbells of the world take a good year 2 leap. You're hoping some of those younger guys on the defense side of the ball do as well. So. Yeah, it's a team, and it's a crowded AFC where a lot of teams are, you could say, very similar in a lot of different ways, and a lot of kind of coin flip type games. So, not a top heavy like AFC, where like the NFC, like the Rams, Seattle's still really good, but like there's still a lot of AFC teams that are kind of all on the same level with each other.
Yeah, exactly. Teams like the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs. I think Denver right now with their offseason is a level ahead of everyone. I think they're ahead of everyone else, but you can question them because of the quarterback play. They probably have the worst quarterback of all the contending teams, but they have the best roster and they probably have the best coach in the AFC. Even though he made a bad decision last year, he's probably the best coach in the AFC in Sean Payton. So we'll see. No, it's Andy Reid. My bad. Andy Reid, second best coach, Andy Reid. So yeah, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I think it was a decent free agency for the Patriots. Good free agency for the Giants. We'll see what happens with these teams as they head into the draft, and we'll definitely be talking about that. But we got to wrap up the show with the WBC and Team USA losing last night to Venezuela, and Eugenio Suarez had that huge RBI double. Mason Miller did not get brought in the game in the ninth inning. Very controversial. At that great home run by Bryce Harper in the eighth inning. But Aaron Judge again in a big spot, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. And that just continues the narrative with him that he just isn't good in big spots. It just continues the narrative with him. He's not good in big spots. Justin, your thoughts on the U.S. losing another World Baseball Classic final?
Yeah, tough one last night. Couldn't get the timely big hit, which you mentioned Venezuela did twice, with and yeah, Judge coming up. Look, Judge's been one of the clutch hitters. I know throughout the regular season. I thought he had a good playoff last year. Just hasn't totally got it done, and it's been unfortunate because it would have been great to kind of carry the U.S. To a championship last night if he was able to do it. He had a couple opportunities. So the whole team didn't hit though. They only had 3 hits. I think they only batted 188 during knockout round play. So the bats didn't come alive. So credit to Venezuela in their pitching staff last night kept USA down.
Yeah, and we'll go into why the U.S. lost it. I think it's pretty obvious they didn't hit 2 runs. They had 2 runs against. They didn't hit against the Dominican Republic either. 2 runs. They got lucky with that call. That call was terrible.
Yeah.
That was an awful strike 3 call in that semifinal game against.
They got the ABSs in. They got the ABSs in.
That was a terrible call on Perdomo in the semifinal, but I think they lost it. The main thing, they just couldn't hit. They just didn't hit in that series. They just clearly didn't hit. That's why they lost it.
Yeah, that's why the lineup just didn't do anything last night. Yeah, the mentioned the only 3 hits, batted at 8, $1.88 in the knockout round. That's not gonna get done. So, yeah, you got lucky. It's the Dominican Republic that your pitching staff pitched real well, and U.S. pitching staff they only gave up 3 runs. They gave a chance, but yeah, the lineup just couldn't take advantage last night. So it's unfortunate. Gave it Waddle Rodriguez credit, but that guy looked like back 2018 when that guy was looking had a chance to win Cy Young. So. Yeah, they unfortunate U.S. couldn't get it done.
Yeah, how do you let Eduardo Rodriguez shut you down? How do you let that happen? How do you let that happen? It shows you these guys are not they're not in midseason form yet. These hitters for the U.S. are not in midseason form, that's for sure.
Yeah, it did not look like it last night. But usually that's how it happens. The pitchers are usually, sometimes pitchers are ahead of the game than the hitters. And yeah, last night it was because yeah, that looks like a Yankee team though with June when you some no name shuts them down. It's like that's Yankees for you.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like last night.
You're right about that. Exactly. And now, why did Venezuela win it? And I think it was their timely hitting. The home run from they got it from Wilber Abreu. Wilber Abreu had a really good WBC. I saw him in a couple home runs in the WBC. I think he had a good WBC. And then Suarez, the huge RBI double. So timely hitting. I mean, you could argue why Mason Miller didn't pitch last night. That's another issue. DeRosa. There's another issue with DeRosa, who doesn't even think they're in. He thinks they already clinched before they clinched. But it's the timely hitting. I think that was a big reason why Venezuela won it.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's the time hitting with Venezuela. You mentioned Suarez, Willie Abreu. Yeah, the bunch of Red Sox had some really good WBCs. Roman Anthony, Jay Duran had a good. Wasn't sure about the Red Sox, but looks like a couple of those guys made a leap this offseason. So they did good for Boston. Suarez, Willie Abreu with the home run. I thought too, just the pitching staff in general. Waddle Rodriguez, who mentioned 4 1/3. Only gave 1 hit. Thought the bullpen for the most part too kept them down. Obviously, they gave up the home run to Bryce Harper, but other than that, the pitching staff had a great game plan. And DeRosa. I know he went for the Brave job this offseason. I don't think they need man jobs anytime soon. That's
no. That was not a good performance by DeRosa yet. Not putting Mason Miller in the game, and also the comments he made after the Italy game, not good at all for him.
Yeah. Yeah, because like, I guess he manages his kids' AAU team, and, back in my brother used to do AAU baseball. I know those run differential things always come in the matter to avoid, like, the 9 a.m. Sunday game, so, like, he should kinda know that all those tournaments, especially with, come down to run differential, so, I guess I know it's difficult, but, like, he's an AAU coach, so he knows, you wanna try to avoid those 9 AM no, those 9 AM back turnarounds on Sundays.
Exactly. And the last thing is Aaron Judge, and he came up small, another big spot. Is this narrative kind of true about him? That he just doesn't come through in big spots, and I got to admit it. I got to say yes. Now, I'm not comparing him to James Harden like people are, but I think it's kind of hurting his legacy. Coming up small in these big games.
Yeah, I thought the last couple of years in the playoffs, like last year in the playoffs, he was better. I'm not. I think he's been a really clutch shooter in the regular season. I get it's a totally different thing, um, but I guess in terms of legacy, it does hurt him because you know him and Cole now are getting up there in the mid-30s. We're probably not going to have a full baseball season next year. Maybe not
Yeah,
even play a
I
game
know.
next
Seeing
year.
seeing the team that's a favorite to win it.
Yeah, yeah. So I hate to say it, but he's running out of time here, and it would be. And I wouldn't put it all on him if this core doesn't win it. I'd put it more on Cashman and how he's blown it. But like, he is running out of time, and again, I know Mattingly's a beloved figure still, and that he's out there without a ring, and I know Judge will be as well. But like, Mattingly played on some horrible teams. Judge has had his opportunities,
Oh
so
yeah.
it'd be unfortunate because I wouldn't say it's all on him of why he doesn't win one and why he hasn't been clutch. It's not all the reason it's not in baseball, but like, yeah, that narrative is going to be out there if he can't get it done here with this Yankee team. Because yeah, it's not like these Mattingly team where Mattingly didn't get the one shot he was hurt, so you know he's had he's made the playoffs. So it'd be so unfortunate because he's such a great player.
Without question, he's a phenomenal player. But the best Yankee, I'll admit, even though he hasn't won a championship, he's the best Yankee player I've seen. He's the best. He's better than to me. He's better than Jeter. To me, he's better than Jeter.
Yeah.
It's just in the postseason, he just hasn't gotten it done. But listen, the best baseball player I've ever seen is Barry Bonds. He never won a ring, so it's hard to judge baseball players on championships. It's hard because you're not as
And your Trout.
Yeah, Trout too. Trout made the playoffs.
That long, yeah.
Trout made the playoffs one time. It's so hard. And our Ty didn't make the playoffs until he got to the Dodgers, won 2 World Series. Look, there was a bunch of other guys that were on, were on the Dodgers that won World Series. It's not like the quarterback in football, not like the superstar in the NBA. It's hard to judge baseball players on winning a championship or not. Quarterbacks in the NFL, yes, you are a judge. You got the ball in your hands a bunch of times. Superstars in the NBA, yes, you are a judge. You got the ball in your hands a bunch of times. You just don't have the usage rate in baseball to be judged like that. But if you are a Yankee and you're trying to compare Yankees, yes, does it hurt his legacy a little bit? Could it be a debate between him and Jeter because of that? Yes. If he was clutch in the postseason, he was as good as Jeter in the postseason, there'd be no debate who'd be better. But seeing that he's struggled in the postseason, there is a debate.
Yeah, and there is. It's unfortunate, but yeah, you're hoping maybe this week in WBC, he gets that one hit to kind of get the monkey off his bat. I know he had the good World Series against the Dodgers besides playing in the outfield, obviously in Game 5, and I thought this year he had a good postseason. So he's gotten better where you hope he kind of turns the corner, but it starts to become a point where the pressure starts him out because at his age and you're not gonna be around to do it forever. So then Father Time has caught up to everybody besides Brady. So if he's running out of time for it. So hopefully he gets it done soon. This year would be great, but we'll see.
All right, yeah, we definitely will see. All right, that'll wrap up this edition of Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We will be back next week talking about the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, and we will be doing our 2026 Major League Baseball season preview. So make sure everyone has a great weekend and enjoys the NCAA tournament.